Hi, this is Pastor Rick Heeline with Faith Fellowship in Killeen, Texas, Bell County. Glad to be here with you. This is my first video blog for the church, and I just wanted to talk to you about stuff that's going on that we hear in the news occasionally, and maybe give a biblical perspective on that. Perhaps the hottest thing on the news right now is no surprise. It's the election that's upcoming here in 4 weeks, and probably more than any other time in history, at least in my lifetime, and I've been voting in general elections since I was 18. I'm now 50. I've already voted for this one through an absentee ballot. Perhaps more than any other time, these two candidates have more issues and more problems than we've ever seen. And that's probably due to the 24-hour news cycle and all of the media that we have that we've never existed. There seems to be no secrets anymore, and we have too much information at times. But most recently, Donald Trump ran into some trouble when he was exposed for having said some very, very disparaging, inappropriate, and indefensible things about women and his perspective. It was unfortunate. But a couple days later, Governor Mike Pence, a born-again believer, was speaking about this at a North Carolina town hall meeting. And it was perhaps the strongest version of the gospel of Jesus Christ related to an issue such as this that I've ever heard. He spoke about grace and mercy and forgiveness. And it got me thinking. I was talking to somebody else about this, and I said, just imagine if I had the time to take you by the hand and travel back in time. And I took you back in your life to that precise moment, precise hour, and precise day 11 years ago that Donald Trump uttered those horrible words. What would we find you doing? Would you be on your knees in devoted prayer? Would you be having family devotions at your kitchen table? Would you be engaged in praise and worship in a church or a Bible study? Would you be committing acts of compassion in some charitable sense? Or would it be something very, very different? I can tell you, if somebody offered that to me to go back 11 years to see what I was doing, I wouldn't take that chance. Most likely, it probably wasn't very honoring of God. You see, that's the problem. We forget very quickly that all of us fall short of the glory of God. In fact, James, the half-brother of Jesus, in writing his letter, the leader of the Jerusalem church, says this in verse 12 in his letter in chapter 2. He says in chapter 2, verse 12, "Speak and act as those who are going to be judged by the law that gives freedom," in other words, the Ten Commandments, "because judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who has not been merciful." So if we don't have mercy in our heart, if we're not willing to demonstrate mercy, James is saying that you better be prepared to be judged as someone who has no mercy. And then God finishes through James saying this: mercy triumphs, is exalted over judgment. And so what I think I'm saying here through the biblical text is this, that when something like this confronts us, seemingly inexcusable behavior by somebody, whether we like them, align with them or not, our go-to as Christians, and I'm speaking to believers out there right now, is to always default to grace, to mercy, and to forgiveness. That doesn't mean that we can't speak into the issue, give some guidance, some counsel, some correction, pray about it, but we are not to sit in judgment, especially of those who we most likely believe aren't believers themselves. We pray for them instead. Romans 13 says that God has given power to all the governments, and the only places that really have authority are the home, church, and the government. And so whether we like them or not, they've been appointed by God for some reason, many reasons out there. But let's default to grace. Let's default to forgiveness. And let's pray for those who are trying to lead this country. I'll see you again soon. Hope you tune in for my next blog. Thank you.